anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. No,
Greetings from Castle Goring on this Maundy Thursday from Mickey, Aurora and from me. I hope you're going to have a very nice Easter weekend, and I hope I'm going to have one. If Aurora and Mickey have anything to do with it, I certainly will. I'll tell you who's going to have a bumpy Easter weekend. Harry and Meghan. Interesting stuff going on. But I will start with what Princess Without a P says. Some of these names. Lady C, what do you make of the article in the Mail stating that Meghan has been sending as ever packages to the King as an olive branch? Is there more to this than meets the eye? Princess Without the P, I would have said there's less to this than meets the eye. Not more. Meghan and Harry are desperate for publicity. Desperate. They are desperate to ratify his royal status and hers. Remember, she has even made sure that she is now being referred to as Her Royal Highness. And everybody's supposed to call her ma'am. Well, I wouldn't even call her spam. So, and I am a monarchist. Well, can you imagine the unmitigated gall of sending your commercial products to the father-in-law you had your Goebbels accused of being a racist, and then having the unmitigated gall to leak it to People, Page 6, Harper's Bazaar, Vanity Fair, etc., etc. And let's not forget the Mail as well. I don't know where it was leaked to, but I do know that those are their publications. And I would imagine pretty much all of them have either run with or will be running with that story. It's utter rubbish. And now, I'm not saying she didn't send the care packages. Oh, I love that racist father-in-law of mine so much. You know, I just wish him well. I just wish him really well. One cell at a time. Yeah. I'm sure she wishes him very well. That's why she got amid scabies to say that he is a racist. That's why Harry was able to say that Camilla was the archetypal stepmother, etc., etc. And we are supposed to be duped by the fact that she has sent care packages to her racist father-in-law, who is showing how cold and callous he is by not even acknowledging receipt of them. Isn't he cruel? I mean, isn't he wicked? Of course, anybody with 2 grains of sense in their head will know that the king cannot and will not put himself in the invidious position of interacting with either his poisonous daughter-in-law or his poisonous son, especially at a time that they are mounting an operation to extort money from the British state for their security, which will then, of course, spill over to the American state, because since they spend most of their time in the United States of America, and if they have their IPP status restored, which I have to say, if it were restored, I would have to say the Court of Appeal is now run by dunderheads, and I don't think it is, so I don't think that's going to happen. But the king cannot afford and doesn't want to afford to have any interaction with his son or poisonous daughter-in-law. That doesn't mean she hasn't sent them. But who has leaked that they were sent? You can depend on it. It wasn't Buckingham Palace. It was Meghan. So she wins twice over, she thinks. On the one hand, she's able to link her name to her father-in-law, King Charles III, and of course that reconfirms her royal status, because I'm a royal highness, you know, and I cock my finger when I take tea because I'm so classy. K-L-A-S-S-Y. So not only is she reinforcing her royal status, but she is also knifing the king at the same time. I have to tell you, the more Meghan Markle reveals of herself and her antics and her ploys, is the more debased a creature she provides those of us with eyes to see how debased a character she is. So, olive branch indeed. Maybe the scourge of an olive branch that has been stripped down and is being used as a whip. Certainly, she's giving the king a very nice Easter present. Well, she did go to Catholic school. She knows all about scourging. And the only thing is, she doesn't know anything about penance. So, is there more to this than meets the eye? I'd have said a lot less. Rovian Matovu says, Lady C, what are your comments on Meghan's latest podcast? Please, please don't torment me. Let me continue. I never seem to have heard of any of these women. Have you? No. They are also resolutely of the third and fourth category. That no, I haven't. Apart from learning absolutely nothing about business, well, you certainly learned that a woman with a body and a woman who can sashay and a woman who can charm and a woman who can do all the things that a lizard wouldn't be able to do. Well, you're learning something about business because business is transacted at many different levels in many different ways. I make that point for what it's worth. And let me continue. Because you're learning girly tricks. You're learning that when you're a woman and you're feminine and you've got loads of plastic surgery and all sorts of beauty aids, you can use a lot of determination and a very little talent and get a very long way. You can actually even make it into the royal family. All you need to do is know how to pose and to do it convincingly with a dunderhead. So, apart from learning absolutely nothing about business, well, as I just said, there are ways of business and business. Certainly, I've never done a monkey business when I've been doing business. But then, some of us scorn the traditional roots. Oh, you're just so wonderful, Mr. DeMille. Oh, Gordon, I just love you so much. I have nothing against you. You're getting billions. I can think of a billion reasons why I admire you so greatly. To continue, as you can see, I'm enjoying myself. Hopefully you will as well, and I'm not putting you off too much. I'm getting a narcissistic mirroring of her guests' private gynecological problems. Oh, it's a pity fest, my dear. It's a pity fest. Remember, the one thing that a narcissistic sociopath with Machiavellian tendencies has to have at all times is a combination of admiration and sympathy. So, in the first episode, one had postpartum preeclampsia. I've got that. I had it too. I promise you I did. I did. And I'm not speaking now as Meghan. I'm speaking as myself. I had postpartum preeclampsia. I still have it. I've got everything that anybody's ever had because I'm sincere and genuine, and I have to tell you, I am multifaceted. Yes, I am. And then we'll get to the next one in a second, and then I will continue reading what Rovian Matuvu says. Episode number 3, postpartum depression. I've been having that for years. I had it before the boys were born. And the fact that someone else gave birth to them hasn't altered the fact that I've had postpartum depression. Still do, 32 years later. The grief of it all. One tear left eye. Girls, please go get Lottie some Coke. She needs something to give her a lift. Number 4, postpartum psychosis. Well, that one I've never had, and that one I don't think Megsy Baby is going to claim to have had, even though she's had prepartum psychosis and she's had postpartum psychosis. We only need to look at her conduct to see that it is psychotic, and irrespective of who gave birth to those children. So she definitely has psychosis, and it's postpartum because the children have arrived. Oh, did you just have the doorbell ring? Now, was that FedEx? Or was it DHL? Might it have been the stork? Oh, I wonder if it's this clinic. Number 5, suspected cervical cancer. Oh, my dear, rather like, doubtless, certain people we know. We've all had it, and we still have it constantly. Episode number 6, close ovarian cancer. Oh, that as well. I mean, can you imagine how one has suffered for being a woman? Oh, a woman. If you're a woman, you suffer. You suffer. Number 7, official hysterectomy. Well, that one I've certainly never had. I never had it at 28. I haven't had it at 38. I haven't had it at batting 48. I've never had a hysterectomy. Never. Some people would say there's a reason why. But we're not going to go down that route. Transitive verbs are such a bore. Number 8, brush with breast cancer. Yes, we've had that too. Well, in fact, I have actually had not a brush with breast cancer, but between the ages of 27 and 36, I was monitored at the Royal Marsden for the possibility. So, because I have lumpy breasts. So that one is genuine, but I'm sure Meghan's going to come up with a whole load of reasons why those 2 fried eggs have had loads of lumps. She is so detached from reality, says Rovian Matuvu. It's scary to witness her unravelling on our very screens, and reveals how insulting she is to women all over the globe. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't agree with you more. I think she is an absolute insult to womanhood, as well as to any woman who has a brain. She is so competitive. Anything you can do, I can do better. Any illness you've had, I've had a bigger one. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I have had postpartum preeclampsia. I have had miscarriages. Oh, sorry. I need to repeat that one. I've had miscarriages, not miscarriages, and definitely not miscarriages. Miscarriages. I had them. Even before I was titled, I had a miscarriage. I'm still having miscarriages. Miscarriages of justice. Well, to answer it quite seriously, if I can reduce myself to seriousness on such a farcical subject, because Meghan has made a mockery of herself and in trying to link up to every known condition that any woman could have suffered from. Because I'm a woman, and not only am I a woman, I'm a feminist, and I've earned my role in life the hard way. It's been hard, and I have learned to work around the hardness, because I know that the way to succeed in life is to take the hard route. I do. Well, in the first episode, she spoke with Whitney Wolfe Herd, who was notionally a billionaire for the blink of an eyelid, having got her start in life by claiming to be a co-founder and being allowed to call herself a co-founder of Tinder for PR reasons when she was not a co-founder. Then she ended up suing for harassment. Evidently, even encouraging the volatility of her, at the time, personal partner and pressed his buttons and made sure that she had proof. Oh, these girls who accumulate proof. Oh, clever little girls. Well, now she has been speaking to Reshma Saujani, who founded a non-profit, now wait for this one, a non-profit called Girls Who Code. And it's about closing the gender gap in technology. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to go in for heart surgery, I want someone like Michael DeBakey. I don't want Michelle DeBaker's daughter, who learned how to bake bread and now says she's a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon or a whatever surgeon she is, when the only thing she knows how to do is slice bread. As far as I'm concerned, class, colour, sex should never come into, and sex as in gender, should never come into any equation when you are judging the viability and the ability of an individual. I don't ask that people, when they read my books, say, oh, well, she's a woman, and so maybe we should lower the bar or raise the bar in terms of her output. No. One's gender is entirely beside the point. But, so I think right there, I know it's a very fashionable thing in modern day society to be pushing for equality. Equality of opportunity is not, or the creation of opportunity is not the same as equality. And I am afraid I am dead against anything except people being judged on their own merits, their abilities. But anyway, so she's done this, which of course is going to be very admirable to the Meghans of this world. And it's a non-profit. It was founded in 2012. And by 2015, dear Mrs. Saujani was on, wait for it, an annual salary of $224,913. Now, I have been doing charity work since I was 22. I am now 75, so that's over 50 years. I have never taken a brass farthing for having ever done anything. And the idea that one would start a charity and then take $250,000 per annum in a salary, I'm sorry, that to me is antipathetic, to put it mildly. So, but anyway, they get into this conversation and Meghan says, never missing an opportunity to let everybody know how wonderful she is and how much she feels and how much she cares and how much she suffered. I've suffered more than anybody else on earth. I don't know why people don't admire me more than they would admire even the Virgin Mary. I've suffered greatly. So she says, I'll bring this up if you're comfortable talking about it, because I know you've spoken publicly. Then she brings up that they've had miscarriages. Now, definitely, Mrs. Saujani has had a miscarriage. Has Meghan had a miscarriage, or did she have a miscarriage? Because as she described it in the New York Times in 2020, it sounded rather more like a miscarriage than a miscarriage when she said, and I'm going to go, she felt a sharp pain, a sharp cramp while she was changing Archie's nappy in July of that year, when she was actually supposed to be coming over here. So to tell lies, oh sorry, speak the truth to Mr. Justice Warby in her action, the action that she had set her father up for. Remember the letter to Daddy? And then when Daddy didn't act upon it, she got 5 of her friends to leak the contents of it to People magazine. And then when her father got the Mail on Sunday to rebut some of the more extravagant and outrageous claims, she sued them for breach of copyright and invading her privacy, the very privacy she had invaded. But she didn't invade hers, she invaded her father's and told a whole load of lies at the same time. And Meghan, if you think I'm being unfair, sue me. Sue me, please. I'll have your father as a witness. So, sue me. Be a brave girl. Put your money where your mouth is. So anyway, do you remember she then fell down onto the floor singing a lullaby? Oh, gentle Jesus, meek and mild, have a pity on a little child, or whatever she sang. And then she saw a crayon under the table that the nanny had. Oh, sorry, she doesn't have nannies. She has help. Oh, you know, she does it all herself. But anyway, somebody who comes in and cleans had left the crayon. And so she scooped that up while singing a lullaby to Archie so that everybody would know that she's such a wonderful mother. And then they went to the hospital and, she said that Harry's heartbreak, and describing about his heartbreak as he tried to hold the shattered pieces of my heart. And they were grieving together for their unborn baby that they had lost. Very conveniently, so that she could say that she wasn't able to travel to come to tell lies. Sorry, speak the truth to Mr. Justice Warby. Oh, do you remember that ridiculous thing? So anyway, then of course that's the time when, do you remember, she was whizzed to the hospital and they gave the, shall we say, remnants against the law, against California law, against any law in the United States. They gave the remnants, and Harry scratched like an animal with his bare hands and buried it under the banyan tree. We're so grief-stricken. Oh, so grief-stricken. Well, now there's another over-the-top performance. And if I'm being over the top, it's only because Meghan's claims are so over the top that, let me tell you something, she and I, as I'm mimicking her, I'm sniffing this air in the stratosphere. She then says, to show everybody how wonderful she is, because you've got to remember, not only do you need to give her pity and sympathy and be right there suffering along with her because she's so noble, but you've also got to admire her because she's so self-abnegating, so self-sacrificing. So she says, I love being a mom so much. It's my favorite thing. If I leave them for a moment in another room, I'm so worried about their well-being that I have to sort of, and I'm practically crying, and I scroll through pictures of them endlessly when they're not around. My husband is like, because remember, very Kardashian, everything is like, you know, like, my husband is like, my face is like, my thing is like. My husband is like, my love, can you just give yourself a minute? I mean, he's so recognizing how self-abnegating I am. He says, why don't you take a bath? Why don't you go work out? And I'm like, I know, but I just want to cuddle. I mean, the woman is mad. She's absolutely barking mad. Does she seriously think that that performance is anything but the performance of a hysteric and a lunatic, because it is hysteria and it's lunacy. I'm in the next room. I miss my babies so much. They're 10 feet away. Well, maybe I should jump on to go to the parapet and jump off it because I'm grief-stricken. I mean, absolute madness. What do you think? Do let me know. J1947M says, so Harry is quietly given sensitive information by the court and immediately threatens to write a tell-all book about it. What a class act, Harry. How could anyone not want you around? Well, absolutely. I mean, do you begin to see why it has been imperative to starve Harry and Meghan of any information whatsoever? So even when she says care packages, let's send some jam. Well, it's not jam. It's congealed blood dripping everywhere with a raspberry flavour, but it's so liquid. It's just care packages to the racist father-in-law. I love him so much, and I just want all of us to be so happy together. Yes. And Harry is now threatening to use the information. So noble. I tell you, if anybody made up any of this, they would be laughed into oblivion. Pammy says, hello, Lady C, Nikki and Aurora. Hello. It's always wonderful to learn so many things about other people like Mercedes Bass, Anne Bass, Queen No, etc. Could you give us some information and clarity on the following? Number one, British media claims that Harry could be writing another book detailing about the bad treatment they received from the royal family. Seems like another blackmail threat, just so that the government will reinstate his taxpayer-funded security and IPP status. Do you think the palace will give in this time to stop this? The palace have nothing to do with it. And there are 3 questions, and I'm going to answer each one at a time. The palace have nothing to do with this. This is Ravek, and this is a total state matter, and this is something to do with security and taxpayer funding income that needs to be carefully administered. So the palace have nothing to do with it. Harry is suing his father's crown, so to speak. Harry is against the Home Office, which is the crown. So Harry is suing his father, which is one of the reasons, aside from the fact that his father, I gather, doesn't want to see him, and his stepmother doesn't want his father being upset with all of the crazy antics. And let's not forget that Harry has not yet denied, amid scabies claims, that his father is a racist. Let's not forget that. So, do I think it will be reinstated? I will be very surprised if it is reinstated. There is every reason to not reinstate it, to starve Harry and Meghan of the information that they would possibly have access to, that they would then mischievously misuse, the way they are misusing even lack of information. They create situations. So I hope it explains that. 2, would you know about the secret evidence Harry keeps bragging about, that he said, we will be shocked when we know about it? Well, Today it's going to be pigs flying, tomorrow it's going to be ducks quacking, day after tomorrow it's going to be Meghan and Harry roasting chicken together, the day after that it's going to be them making waffles, and the day after that it's going to be the fact that they have assumed this deification status that has been apparent to them for some time that they deserved, and nobody else has known about it. The point I'm making is, I hope, not lost on you, but I will be even more particular in case it is being lost. What will play well today will be used, and what will play well tomorrow will be used. And the fact that today's content will vary from tomorrow's content, and the day after tomorrow it will be entirely different as well, is neither here nor there. Why would Harry and Meghan be limited by the truth? I mean, they have aspired to heights that have nothing to do with the truth, but it's got everything to do with their truth. And their truth is to meld, mold, and manipulate all material so that they will satisfy their, quite frankly, base urges. So, number 3. Meghan is commercially using the Wales children and their fashion on her social media. Well, they are my nephews and niece. I can do what I want. After all, as Mom said to me, Megs, the baby, never give the milk away for free. Gotta charge for everything. And I've been charging ever since Mom told me that. I learned from the best. This woman is obsessed and stalking the Waleses. Well spotted. And she doesn't need to do it necessarily on her own. She has others doing it for her. Amid scabies, the Sussex Squad. Oh, the list is endless. And we'll stop at Harry. I truly hope the King and Prince William will stop her, especially now that Meghan is using the Wales children for her monetization. Thank you always for all your insights. My understanding is that the King and the Prince of Wales have taken the decision to allow Meghan and Harry to continue to do the effective job that they have been doing so efficiently of exposing themselves and in the process destroying their reputations. I think Napoleon is the one who said, don't interfere with your enemy when he's destroying himself. Wise advice. Gumblina says, can guarantee, even with the titles or not, Harry will make it his life's ambition to bring down the monarchy. He cannot bear the thought that his brother will be king. No longer. He used to be quite a faithful wingman, in fairness to him. He did not really mind being the spare. All of this supposed envy and enmity, he always would have been happy to be number one and would have preferred to be number one. But it is a misnomer to think that the vicious, nasty, bitter Harry that we now see was actually in existence before Meghan Markle came along to Iago-like inform Othello about what he should hate about Desdemona. Harry has had poison dripped in his ear, and just as how Othello had his sanity ruined and his perceptions perverted, so has Harry. And one of the things Meghan has played upon is Harry's propensity towards rage. And she has used his underlying, and all siblings have sibling rivalry, but she has capitalized upon things that were actually pretty natural and really pretty ordinary. And she has blown them with careful ministration, blowing everything out of proportion. And the operative word has been blow, at least in the early days. So, I hope that answers the question. Shall we leave it at that? Because now he can't, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Harry and Meghan could destroy the monarchy, that they would destroy the monarchy, because they don't care. And just as how I know that even if there's no monarchy, I'm pretty much going to continue, as will people of my ilk. Because look at the German, French, Italian aristocracy. They've not needed the monarchy to continue to flourish. And in fact, locally, you become an even bigger cheese. I just say that for what it's worth. So, nobody will really need the monarchy in terms of, and when I say nobody, I mean people in certain sorts of positions. And Harry and Meghan will have already figured out that they don't need the monarchy to exist either, because if they end up getting credit for bringing down the monarchy, that increases their prestige in certain circles. Think about it for a second. And people like Meghan and Harry always set up situations for them to be win-win, that no matter how much you lose, they've still won. The reality, of course, is that they don't win, but they think they've won. And they dupe themselves into thinking that every failure is a victory, and every defeat is actually the war won, when it's not. That, I think, is a part of being nuts. Alison Brown says, "Dear Lady C, it might be a simple answer. If Ukraine is a no-fly zone, how did that man get into Ukraine? Ministry fight? No. He landed in Poland, was taken to the border, and met at the border and taken into Lvov. That's what happened." So, simple answer. And of course, it's deflected attention away from the farce of Sentebale and the on the ground in Lesotho completely outraged conduct by the supposed beneficiaries of Sentebale. How they have not benefited while the people employed by Sentebale have benefited. But that's for another day. Cheryl Favor says, Meghan's entree into the upper echelons of the Democratic Party is primarily based on her claims to being a proud woman of colour, as you often point out. If she identified as white, there would be no platform for her with the Dems. Ah, very good point. Because she's not rich enough. She You have to be rich to be a supporter of either political party when you're white. Now, of course, if you're an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or a Meghan Markle, that little bit of blood is going to go a long way, especially if you can be glamorous. CJE says, I've heard British people speak about Britain being elitist with royals and the aristocracy. Quote unquote, Britain is still ruled by a privately educated elite. Let's end this culture of deference. I'm not there, so I can't really know. Well, I'm here and I can tell you it's utter rubbish. That is not to say that privately educated people and the aristocracy and royals don't still have a degree of influence, but I'm here to tell you they do not have the influence they used to. They certainly are not regarded as having the prestige or the national importance that they used to have. I have often said the class struggle was fought and won 50 to 100 years ago. And all this nonsense about class in Britain now is people who are using situations that existed 100 years ago but don't exist anymore and may even have existed 70 years ago. But certainly by the 1960s, certainly by the 1970s, things had changed dramatically. And on the contrary, I'll tell you who really has an advantage in this country at the moment is brown and black people, and preferably if they're brown and black and poor. If they're brown and black and rich, or brown and black or well-educated, or brown and black and well-situated, not so much as when they are brown and black and poor. They have tremendous superficial sympathy, let's put it that way, and you only need to pick up any newspaper or magazine at the moment to see that practically nobody from the old elite is represented in any meaningful way. And not only is nobody from the old elite in any way, shape or form represented, but even the majority ethnically is not represented. It is the minority that is represented in this country. So at the moment, to be a minority is a tremendous advantage. There are huge issues about the police not employing white people, that applications are open for people of colour but not white people. I mean, I'll go back to what I said originally. I think it should be determined on ability. But at the moment, we have a different zeitgeist. Let's leave it at that. That is not to say that the last government didn't have privately educated people in it, because it certainly did. However, this government is proving to be so disastrous that it's going to show that those who have a lesser education in terms of traditional values and who have no exposure to business and making money are going to turn out to be even more inefficient than the last lot, and the last lot were pretty inefficient, despite some of them having good public school educations. Public school, incidentally, means private education. So, FY says, I'm going to reread my question, Lady C. Who, if anyone, has felt the magnant belly feeling any signs of life? A kick, a movement, or was it pillow soft? I'm afraid, my dear, that is evidently something that you need to take up with Meghan, because Meghan is very private, and Meghan, for all being a hugger, Meghan was absolutely fastidious about being careful that she had her hand cupped in front of her baby bump at all times. And also in this country, one does not go up to somebody and grab their stomach and say, let me feel the baby. It just doesn't happen. And you certainly wouldn't do it with a member of the royal family. You wouldn't do it with anybody. And certainly you couldn't have done it with Meghan, because those hands were at all times a barrier. Insofar as I am aware, nobody ever felt that stomach. More than that, I'm not prepared to say, for legal reasons. You can use your imagination. Barbara Thomas says, Lady C, we black Americans call black hair either good hair or nappy hair. Well, in Jamaica, we say good hair, and we would use other descriptions to say, like naughty Ed would be one of them. There are one or two others that we used to use, which I'm afraid I'm not going to say now, because this is YouTube and I'm not going to get into any trouble whatsoever, because they might be straying into politically incorrect areas. But this is what everybody in Jamaica used to say. But so thanks for that, because yes, you're one of many people, Barbara Thomas, who has told me that in America it's referred to as nappy head. Sorry, nappy hair. In Jamaica, they say head instead of hair. And Meghan certainly has nappy head, doesn't she? Well, she did before she got the hair of those Turkish virgins. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in, so I will know what you would like us to be discussing. Okie dokes, thank you so much. And if you have truly enjoyed this, would you care to like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and Godspeed. Bye-bye.